Hello everybody and welcome back inside the State Champ Studios. Like always, alongside former Michigan State Spartan McKenzie Long, my name is Liles. And Kenzie, I mean, we're getting into these league championship weeks. How fun is this time of the year?
This time is fun. You know, it's like one of those things where it's a one and done. Eliminations is starting to come up, and so really competing and putting your best foot forward is important at this time of the year.
Did you, when you were playing softball, did you always like this time of year, or were you kind of like stressed out about it?
No, I love this time of year. I feel like when you play for a purpose and every pitch, every play matters, it makes it fun. And so you really start to see teams rally together, and it's exciting to see.
And the weather. I mean, we're getting so close to June. The weather's just doing good. Everybody's happy, I feel like.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 80s next week,
right?
So perfect time for districts. Love it.
All right, well, let's jump right into it. Liggett taking on Our Lady of the Lakes in the Cardinal Championship. What'd you see from this game?
Yeah, Liggett cruised to a 9-1 victory with Victoria Nugent throwing 12 strikeouts in that game, and she was excellent.
And you see, you know, as you get closer to the end of the season, typically these teams start to have that standout player.
Yeah, Victoria has 250 strikeouts on the year, and I mean, if they want to go far, she's going to be the one that has to perform, and she's showing out, and she's showing that she can put together good games. I mean, 250 strikeouts.
It's insane.
A lot of strikeouts on the year.
And how important is it, you know, as we get closer to the end of the season that, you know, you're going out there and you're giving it your best?
Yeah, you know, I think that's huge for them. You know, Liggett had only 6 hits on the day, but they were able to get extra bases by hit by pitches and walks, and that's what you need at this time of the year. Is sometimes you don't always have your best and you're not able to maybe compete great in the box, but when you're able to find a way to get on and score, that's what's important, and that's what we saw from Liggett this week.
And it's the little things, like you said, you know, hit by pitch. Okay, it's not a base hit, but I mean, you're on base.
That's what I love about this time of the year is when earlier in the year you always want to hit, you always want to, you
get after it.
Yeah, exactly. But this time of year you turn into a selfless teammate, and you're like, anything I can do to get on is what's important right now. And so that's why I love this time of year is you see different people competing in the box.
Yep. And speaking of competing, Mercy and Divine Child, what a game. What a game that one was.
That was a great game. That was a great game. I mean, 8 innings with a walk-off in the 8th inning. I think that's huge. That catapulted Mercy to 25-0 on the year, and that's just huge. They played them 3 times, and they were able to beat Divine Child all 3 times.
And Caitlin, every week she doesn't disappoint.
No, she had 22 strikeouts in that game. And, you know, yes, they start with a 1-1 count in the Catholic League, but she's played Divine Child 3 times. She's pitched 17 innings against them, and she struck out 47 of their hitters in 17 innings. So even with the 1-1 count, she's showing that doesn't matter. She's still going to find the zone. She's still going to be competitive, and she's still going to strike out a lot of hitters.
Do you think there's a different mindset, you know, going into a game where, I mean, your count starts that way?
Yeah, I think, you know, when you have somebody like yes, does that probably help the pitcher more? Absolutely, from the fact that, you know, you only get 2 strikes as a hitter, but you know that's a mindset going in, and so you should know that already, and you should be competitive early, and so that was what's important for them.
How do you think you would fare with the 1-1 count?
It's hard, you know. I think if I had to just do it one game, I think it would struggle, but if it was a season long, I would be able to figure it out and attack early for sure.
It's something I feel like you just have to get used to.
Exactly, 100%, and Mercy's shown that. I mean, 25-0, but we forget that not only does Caitlin Palazzi get the 1-1 count, but her hitters have to start with the 1-1 count, and they've been able to put some great numbers up this year as hitters, and so, you know, Evelyn Miller started in the 8th inning, had a clutch double that really kind of set the tone to score in the 8th inning.
I just love this time of year. I mean, good games all around, right?
Well, this game was important for Mercy, and the reason why is they've had a lot of games where they've scored a lot of runs, or they've been, you know, in not very close ball games. And for them to have the confidence to be able to move forward in a close game and be able to shut the door when the door needed to be shut is huge for them in their confidence, because they haven't lost yet. They have to build momentum and confidence from close games, and this game was important for them.
And like you said, it's, you know, getting closer to the end of the season, like we talked about. It's important for, you know, like you said, shut the door when you need to. Yeah, and when you need your big-time players to step up. And we know for a fact that Caitlin Palazzi is going to do that. She's shown that all year. But when you have Evelyn Miller and Izzy Chatput going ahead and stepping up, and then Gage being able to hit this go-ahead run in, that's what's important, and that's how you
play selfless ball. Is Evelyn started with the double, then we were able to move her over with execution, and then they scored them. And so execution matters, and Mercy was able to execute in this game.
And that makes it fun. It just makes it fun for everybody.
Again, this time of year is the best because of the execution piece. When you're early in the season, you're just trying to win ball games, kind of get your feet under you. But in these games, you're just trying to do whatever it takes to win the game. And so when you have your bottom of the lineup producing in Miller, and then your top being selfless and finding ways to move runners, that's how you win ball games.
All right, and moving on ahead to the Grand Blanc Allen Park game. Wow, that was a big one.
It was a slugfest. I mean, you had 6 home runs between the two teams, but Grand Blanc had 5 of those 6 home runs, and ultimately they came out on top, and they showed that they're here to stay and that they're here to make a name for themselves in this upcoming state tournament.
And confidence. I feel like winning these games, like, it just kind of boosts you moving forward.
Well, when you're able to put on 13 runs against the defending state champions, that is confidence boost, no doubt. But what gives the most confidence for them is almost everybody in the lineup besides one hitter had a hit off of Morgan Sizemore for Grand Blanc. And so when you're able to compete against the best and find success against the best, when the state champion or when the state tournament comes about, you're not nervous because you've been there, you've done it against the best. And so for them, that's huge for them.
Just being able to, step into that box, being like, I've done this before.
Yeah, and some of their best players stepped up in this game. Carson Kuhlman, she was on base 5 times for them.
Which is a lot.
Yes, and that's their leadoff. So when your leadoff is getting on 5 times, and not only did she get on 5 times, but she had 4 RBIs on the day and she had a home run. But really, the name of the game is Caitlin DeWitt. 2 home runs. She had 5 RBIs. And when you are trying to compete against the best, you need your best players to step up. And Caitlin DeWitt has shown all year that she is their hitter. She is going to be the one that produces the runs, and she showed that in this game.
And I want to talk about Allen Park for a second. Defending state champs, and you take the tough L, but it's better to have this happen now than in a week or so.
Oh, 100%. A week and so they're done.
Yeah, exactly.
And so for them, I think what's important for them is how do you bounce back, and that's what any great team can do is can we bounce back? And they saw that last year. They struggled a little bit. They do a good job. Coach Kish does a great job of scheduling hard teams during this time of the year. And so not losing your confidence and saying, oh, this was just a step forward, a building block, 2 districts, 2 regionals is what's important for Allen Park. And so it all just depends on their mindset. Are they able to say, no big deal, let's keep rolling, let's find what we have to get better on? Or are they going to, hold on to this loss for a little bit?
And let it affect, them moving forward.
100%. And, they have a lot of seasoned kids, so I think that Allen Park will be just fine. The key is making sure that Morgan Sizemore is ready to go in the games to come.
And how important is it to have a tough schedule this time of the year?
Yeah, Coach Kish does a phenomenal job of making sure that they are playing the best. They're playing the best in Ohio in a couple days, but it is important because it depends on the team that you have, right? If you have a seasoned team and a team that's done it before with a bunch of leaders and things like that, then you're schedule the best. But if you have a team that's younger and is just starting to get their feet under them, you probably don't want to go into the state tournament getting beat up beforehand. But for Allen Park, they have a lot of seniors, a lot of players that have been there. They returned most of their lineup from last year anyway, and so they know that they'll be just fine.
All right, let's talk about that Unity Christian versus Zeeland West game. How important was the defense in this one?
The defense was huge. Unity Christian had 11 hits in that game, only 1 extra base hit, but 11 hits, and they only scored 1 run. And so when you're able to put a defensive performance together like Zeeland did, that's how you win ball games. When your best start performing in the box, no big deal. There's different ways to impact games.
And like we just keep saying, as you get closer to the end of the season, it is the little things that really come together to help you win those ball games.
Yeah, I think there's 4 ways to impact a game, in my opinion. You can be a good hitter, you can be a good defensive player, you can be a great base runner, and you can be a good teammate. You don't need all 4 of them to click to win ball games. You need to click at whatever you need at that exact game, right? And so for Zealand, they had some of their best hitters weren't performing. That's okay. They were still able to perform defensively, and at this time of the year, all you're trying to do is get to the next game.
Right.
Win that game and get to the next game.
Right.
And so not letting one part of your game affect the other part of your game is important. And Zealand showed that they can do that by letting up 11 hits, but only letting 1 run score.
Yep, and this one went 11 innings. We've seen so many games this past week that have went into extras. Is it just something in the air?
No, it's that competitive nature at the end of the year, right? When you have 11 innings and they were able to score, again, by execution, you know, nothing big. They didn't do any, you know, no big home run or anything like that. They just executed. When you're playing at this time of the year, you're playing these, you know, conference championships and things like that, and so you're playing the best.
Yep.
And so that's why we're seeing a little bit more competitive ball games.
And defense. How important is it going into these last couple weeks?
Yeah, you know, the big defensive plays are fun, right? The diving catches, the diving plays, the strikeouts. But how you move forward in an elimination games is routine plays and making the routine plays. And when they say defense really does win championships, it does, right? When you, like we see with Mercy, they only scored 1 run. But when you're able to perform on the field, that's what's going to be the difference maker. And so for teams to want to move forward, they got to make the routine plays. And this is when your infielders and your outfielders really show out and bring together their best.
And I feel like sometimes, you know, the routine plays, you know, routine ground balls, routine fly balls, they're overlooked sometimes, but like you said, I mean, that's what's going to win you the game.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I think is super important, especially for younger players, is understanding that when there's a runner on third, how to control those nerves, that if you make a mistake in that moment, a run scores. And as we lead into districts and regionals, 1 runs can be the difference between a win or a loss. And so are you able to make the routine plays later in the game? That's what shows maturity in a team, and that's what not only it separates teams, but allows teams to move forward. The best team may not win in districts. The best teams may not win in regionals, but it's the team that is able to make the routine plays consistently, and consistently when runners are in scoring position. When we make a routine play when there's nobody on, great. That's you should. But when you're making a routine play when the pressure is on you, and if you don't make that play or run scores, that's what separates a good team and a great team.
So maturity plays a huge role, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I played, it was nerve-wracking when runner, you know, I played shortstop, and when a runner is on third and a ground ball's hit at you and you're like and it's like, if I don't field this cleanly and make a good throw right now, the run scores. And so as you get older, you learn that, you know, it's just another ground ball.
I know how to do this.
Yeah, it's just another ground ball. It's just another fly ball. But until then, when you see the runner and you feel the tension of your teammates yelling 1-1-1 a little bit louder, or the coach yelling get her.
You got fans in the stands chirping at
you.
And
you can feel the tension of the team around you. Like, you feel the 1-1-1 with a little bit more sense of urgency. And so I think it's important for teams to make the routine plays. That's why I think, you know, again, kudos to like Allen Park and all these teams that are scheduling really, really big games, is being able to field those routine plays in those games when the pressure is there, but it's not nearly as bad as when it's a one and done. And that's what's great about this, is when it's a one and done tournament like districts and regionals are, you know, the best team doesn't always win, and it's the team that executes the best, not only offensively but defensively.
And it's you have to put it all out there. You know, you've worked the whole season for this moment. You got to just lay everything on the line, and like you said, best team might not win. Yeah,
I mean, you could have somebody like Mercy who has a dominant pitcher, and all it takes is one run. One run that they score and Mercy doesn't score, and all of a sudden you see, you know, one of the best teams getting knocked out. That can happen to anybody, right? It takes a lot of grit, a lot of confidence, and a lot of maturity to go forward in these tournaments and being able to put together back-to-back games. And the other thing to note is when you get into districts, you're playing 2 games back-to-back, and so your pitchers are going to get fatigued, they're going to get tired, so there is going to be more balls put in play. So if your defense isn't able to stay together, to make the plays, to make the routine plays, to bounce back when an error happens, because errors are going to happen, then that's when they start to kind of get that snowball effect. So the teams that can eliminate the snowball effect are the teams that are going to move forward. All
right, well, it's time to talk Softball Player of the Year, presented by Turn 'n 2. got another new name on our list.
Yes, Jaden Jones from Gaylord. You know, she's just been excellent for them. Gaylord's done a great job and is ranked #1 in Division II, and they have a chance to go far in the tournament as well. And they're only going to do that on the back of Jaden Jones, and so we're excited to add her to our list.
And she's a junior, right? But you said she is leader.
She is their leader. She is their catalyst on that team. She's committed to Virginia Tech. So, I mean, just a huge player that's going to go on and play in the ACC. If she goes and her sister goes, then Gaylord goes. And I think that's important for Gaylord as they move forward. So it's going to be kind of fun to see her perform at her best when the team needs it.
And that shows, you know, the actual leadership. When she's on, everybody's on.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. She does, again, we talk about, she does a good job of impacting the game in different ways, whether that is hitting, whether that is on the field, whether that is being a good teammate, base running, and things like that. She really does have the whole package, and so we're excited to see what she can do.
To cast your vote for Jaden or any of the members of our top 10 list, visit statechampsw.com. Megan Nectarline is leading our online vote, so that means she cannot be removed from the list. To cast your vote, visit statechampsw.com. And we have made it. It is Districts Week. How pumped are you?
Oh, I'm excited for the teams. I'm excited for the teams that got to play in the pre-district. I think, you know, when you get picked for a pre-district, you're kind of like, dang, that's another game. But that's also a great time to kind of get rolling, get started, get the intensity going early on. And so I think it'll be a fun time.
I don't want to say it takes the pressure off, but it definitely helps. You know, you're not going into Saturday like, ugh.
Exactly.
You know?
You've kind of already gone through the elimination process of the tournament, and so when you get picked for a pre-district, you know, it could be seen as a good thing, it could be seen as a bad thing, but I really encourage our teams to see it as a great opportunity to gain some momentum, get your feet under you, and get rolling for districts.
Well, I know one thing for sure. The bats this week and all the way to the state finals are going to be hot.
Yes, and I hope our middle infielders continue to turn too.
State Champs Swing Away is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious, make magic, visit ltu.edu. Swing Away is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud sponsor of the MHSAA. The Detroit Athletic Club Foundation Male and Female Athlete of the Year Awards. Who will be this year's award winners? Find out live June 5th only on State Champs Sports Network. Turn Into Softball. Experience Turn Into Softball, where the mission to build champions both on and off the field.